On Sunday night, the Committee to Defend Affordable Housing hosted a caucus to choose 5 candidates to run for positions on Berkeley's Rent Stabilization Board. The Rent Stabilization Board regulates rent increases and tenant evictions. Out of 10 contenders, Berkeley residents elected 5 candidates to make up the pro-tenant slate, including Nicole Drake, Judy Shelton, Jesse Townley, incumbent Jack Harrison, and recent UC Berkeley alumnus Igor Tregub. Tregub said he hopes to protect tenants from unfair evictions and rent prices.
I have served for years the city as Donald Springs' appointee to the Berkeley Labor Commission. I've also been an elected and appointed UC Berkeley student government official and an organizer for progressive causes. In the middle of my final semester at UC Berkeley, near midterms and 6 classes, I suddenly had to worry about soon not having a roof over my head. As I sifted through Craigslist ads, I discovered that there were few units I could afford on a student's income. Eventually, I was lucky enough to find a place. I was one of the lucky ones. Too many tenants like me and like us, when faced with this adversity, are unable to find clean, safe, affordable housing in Berkeley and are forced to leave the city. In an age of peaking foreclosures, our city has lost valuable diversity and talent as a result of the plight of the tenant. I invite you to join me and East Bay Mud Director Andy Katz, who endorses me, even though he can't be here today, as we together roll up our sleeves and go to work for the fair and habitable housing, a fundamental right that we all have. Thank you.
Jack Harrison, a current board member, mentioned issues like foreclosures and seismic retrofitting of soft-story buildings whose renovation expenses could be passed on to the tenant.
We have dealt with foreclosures in the board. It's sneaking up, folks. It's here. We got them. We got a list. So there's a service. We spent $600. They're going to mail us a list. We mail a letter to anybody who's threatened with foreclosure and inform them of their rights, because they're still tenants. So this is one of the issues, one of the fun issues we got to face. I thought I'd tell you about. The other fun issue I thought I'd tell you about before I told you all the nice things that make you want to vote for me is the soft story thing scares the bejabbers out of me. There's a real issue. You're going to have to have a fighting board, and you're going to have people who are lawyers, and it's pretty sly, because who pays for bringing the buildings up to code? How much could it cost? It could cost the price of the building. That is, you could double or triple your rent if it passes through the tenant. And there's issues on equity on both sides. This is a tough issue. Brace to fight it. It is probably the most dangerous issue. I spent a lot of time in my career working with people getting SSI disability. I know how incredibly narrow and thin that lifeline is, how tenuous that can be.
The pro-tenant slate of 5 candidates will participate in the statewide elections this November. This is Matthew Peters with the Daily Californian.
The convention is not about any of the people behind this table. I mean, it is, but it's really about each of you. It's about this city. It's about this community. It's about this country, and it's about this world.